Well, as you've gotten to see, we've been consolidating evidence, going through it all. We've got one evaluation here. We got another evaluation here. Just found Leslie Carter's evaluation. In the last video, we were going over some of the stuff I had to write in crayon at the hospital. And of course, we did write down all of the numbers that we could, all of the information that we could on who we're supposed to contact according to who. Basically just ended up running around in circles. So this one right here, we'll go over this first. Fucking Christ, that hurts. Okay, so 511 to 513. Mind you, about half of the stuff that I wrote down, they actually trashed. This is over a situation with Nurse Jessica and Nurse Carla. All right, so 511 to 513, abuse and neglect at the Tillamook Hospital. On 511, Nurse Carla was mean, yelling and snapping at me, and making comments to Mary Edith about how I'm out to hurt people. She made Mary Edith sit in a place outside line of sight, just being a nasty person. Not Mary Edith, by the way. Mary Edith was very kind to me. Jessica from obstetrics was the next to watch me. She was also outside line of sight and neglectful. Carla and Doug chose to bully, intimidate, and threaten me when I spoke up. She also claimed to other staff that I stalked a 13-year-old and posted someone's cousin on my channel, and there was a bunch of different shit like that. Like, Carla just... God, that woman... Definitely not a nice person. Also, I had to do it on these. That's right. They gave me some coloring books. What did I do? Fucking tried to turn their bitch asses in. 5/12/2024. I tried to get the nurses and such to stop neglecting me. Mary Edith was still made to sit outside line of sight. Nobody from the hospital came to listen. Just talked over me, ignoring me. Mary from TFCC showed up to badger, berate, bully, and victim blame and shame. I wasn't okay with it because it is illegal. That's right. See, all of these people were convinced by Mary and John that I was some horrible person out to kill everybody. That's never been the case. They also tried to convince these people at the hospital that I was schizophrenic and delusional, and we know that that's not the case. We've got documentation here from, well, after this situation happened is when we got the evaluation from Dr. Carter and the evaluation from Dr. Pekanu and the evaluation from Dr. Hold on a second, I'm horrible with names. Let me find it. Dr. Give me a second. Nope, that's not it. Dr. Morgan Beckman, MD, Director, Forensic Evaluation Service, Oregon State Hospital. So, yeah, there's that. So, then we've also got multiple evaluations from beforehand that also show that I am neither schizophrenic nor delusional. Let's pull one of those out. Now, it's a good thing we're starting to get this stuff consolidated. This is the stuff that they try to pretend doesn't exist, that it's somehow a figment of my imagination, that the evidence of physical assaults is somehow, I don't get how they even try to pull that shit off. So, when you try to turn in a mandatory reporter, they basically run you around in circles, and it's nobody's fault. None of them are at fault for not doing their jobs as mandatory reporters. It's your fault as the victim because they didn't listen for some odd reason. Now this also shows how far back it goes. It says, please continue to follow up with local resources. And it tells me to go to resources I'd already been to. Tides of Change, CARE, and of course Helping Hands wasn't going to allow me in there unless somebody at CARE decided that I should be allowed in there. And of course they were dragging their asses on it. It says, or local sites that may be able to provide advocates. Well, none of them have provided a goddamn advocate, not a single one. It says, more importantly, I will send a referral to TFCC for counseling as well as for advocacy. I still didn't get advocacy, and I don't need fucking counseling. What I need is for these goddamn son of a bitches to do their fucking jobs as mandatory reporters. I shouldn't have had to go to the fucking emergency room at the goddamn hospital on 11/19/2022. That is my name right there. Sean Schwartz. So, of course, let's get into this here assessment with Miss Carter. We also know that this right here, this is same shit, different day. What does it say in the bullshit that they put me in prison for? All of these people who played victim had no evidence. They weren't interested, though. What they were interested in doing is making sure that I wasn't allowed to show evidence. And what all three of these evaluations say? Let's read it. Insufficient evidence to support a conviction because state is unable to locate previously recorded conversations and victims involved do not wish to testify at trial. You mean they didn't want to go to prison as soon as we got to trial and they realized there's evidence against them? Not that my public pretender did anything. He didn't even try. Now it says that on all three of these. Insufficient evidence to support conviction because state is unable to locate previously recorded conversations and victims involved do not wish to testify at trial. Oh, let's find this third one. This third one here. What's this about? Again, it says insufficient evidence to support conviction because state is unable to locate previously recorded conversations and victims involved do not wish to testify at trial. Could you imagine that? They lost all their goddamn evidence. Can you imagine that? Yeah. They didn't misplace it. It's not that they were unable to locate it. It's that the evidence in those conversations and recordings condemns and damns every deputy in the Dual County Sheriff's Department. Meanwhile, they use the bullshit and slander from Dual County Sheriff's Department, who also tried pulling this schizophrenic bullshit. I apologize for the rain. Now, with the medical records, I'm willing to show them to people in person, but we got to make sure that this stuff isn't used improperly. And I haven't gone through this to make sure that there's none of the stuff that could get it potentially flagged or whatever it's called. But we'll go over the collateral information. First of all, Tillamook County Circuit Court charging instruments. Second, Oregon State Hospital forensic evaluation by Dr. James Bacanu, MD. I do apologize that it's so loud. Just so you know, every one of these mental health evaluators got a lot of stuff wrong because they basically just, anything that we didn't have time to go over, they just assumed. It says Mr. Schwartz appeared older than his stated age. He was average height and slender build. Internal behavior. He answered all questions posed to him. He spoke quickly and often gave long, detailed answers to questions. He was open about his personal history. English is his first language. Fuck it, we don't need to go through all that crap. Let's just get to the let's see. In the high average range, Mr. Schwartz received a WAIS, blah, 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 blah. He showed high average range word-based learning skills, 86th percentile, and upper extreme visual learning skills, 99th percentile. He had well above average recall of mainstream cultural facts, often taught in school at 95%. Mr. Schwartz demonstrated strong language learning skills at 86th percentile, I should say. It's kind of slightly different. Generally, Mr. Schwartz is a functional communicator. He should be able to communicate his needs to others and understand the content of conversations when he is interested and not overly stressed. Imagine that. He is prone to tics and stuttering when he is stressed. He has more difficulty with communication about emotional needs and social perspectives than more fact-based topics. So basically, if you want to bullshit me, we're probably not going to have a good conversation. If you want to talk about factual stuff, then yeah, we can do that. I got great scores on most of this. I say most of it because there are parts that by the end of it I was completely friggin' schnockers. I was so tired I was ready to pass out. It says he demonstrated well above average ability to organize information into categories, 92nd percentile, and explain common sense judgment questions at 93rd percentile. I mean, there's a lot of them on here. Autism spectrum disorder. Mr. Schwartz stated that he had been diagnosed with Asperger's disorder in the past, and we've already shown, I believe, 3 or 4 of the pieces of paper that show that. We've shown at least 4 or 5 pieces of paper that show the diagnoses of not bipolar. Why'd I say that? Oh yeah, because the cops keep trying to pretend that I'm bipolar is their excuse to pretend that none of the abuse exists. Let's see. It says, well, on some of this, I scored pretty low within, like, this one right here, 46th percentile. But that was by that point, I was already half passed out. It says he is often told he is overly blunt even when he is trying to be helpful. Not quite. But it does say in order to be considered autistic, you have to get a score of, I believe she said 68 or higher is autistic, and I actually got like 130 something. I'm trying to find it. Basically, she says ASD diagnosis is justified, but PTSD is his more significant condition. I'm trying to find the part where they say what the numbers are exactly. That way, those of you who are trying to get educated in this will know exactly. I probably should have gone through all these pieces of paper before doing this. That way I know exactly where everything's at. But, here it is. The Ritvo Asperger's Diagnostic Scale, RAADS-R, is a diagnostic interview used to review autism spectrum disorder, ASD, in adults. It is a strong reliability and validity statistics and is correlated with other measures of ASD. A score of 65 or higher is considered significant for possible autism spectrum disorder symptoms. Mr. Schwartz and I reviewed autism-related symptoms. He received a score of 162, which is above cut for autism spectrum disorder ASD level 1. So yes, I am still autistic. It didn't go away. Now, all this stuff is stuff that I am not only willing, but have been trying to force investigators to look at. But instead, they talk in circles, refuse to look at any evidence, shove me off onto others, reschedule repeatedly, and then, of course, they want to tell me, why don't you just give it up? Why don't you just let it go? Why don't you move elsewhere? Blah, 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 blah. On the bright side, if somebody wants to come see me in person and read all of the information in these, they're free to read all of it. They're free to utilize all of it. Like I said, with the exception of this here, this side over here, that paper there, all of this here, all of that right there, this whole stack right here, like that's a huge stack. Look at that. All of this right here. We also got a lot of electronic evidence in the form of these here USB sticks. Let's pop some of them out. Yep, quite a collection. I got a couple more up here. Here's one. Yeah, there's a few more. I'm not going to reach up there and grab them at the moment. These have got, well, some of this paper evidence in there, but primarily this is the stuff from the internet and from the recordings of people assaulting me in real life, people threatening my friends and family in real life. A lot of people who claimed they were going to help me and ended up taking advantage of me, taking advantage of my financial situation, and taking advantage of my desperation, because I have to turn in this abuse and get it actually recognized by the courts, get it actually recognized by the mental health people that obviously are going out of their way to look the other way and outright lie. And yeah, I got 13 of these all together, just so you know. Some of them are small, but most of them are pretty big. I got like 3 of them in there that are the 256ers or whatever. Now that's not going to close for the time being. You also get to see that I did keep my Miss Shelley care cards. Most of these appointments are appointments that she missed. Most of them. There's even more appointment cards. I have another pile of appointment cards here somewhere. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at. Obviously, we haven't even scratched the surface, and I've already gotten to show you guys evidence that they, even knowing that I was not schizophrenic or delusional, and knowing that I was telling the truth about these situations, the care staff coordinated with other predators that I had to try to turn in order to prevent me from doing so. It's not okay to bully someone, antagonize somebody into a desperate situation, and then just call them mentally ill to try to justify the things that you did to them. If you want to cover for your coworkers, you're breaking the law. That's pretty simple. Cut and dry. Oh, here's some more cards. Very good. So, why is there such a discrepancy between what the people paid by Tillamook County have to say and what the state doctors had to say? Why is it that Tillamook County is attempting to eradicate, eliminate, and of course outright ignore any and all evidence that shows that I'm not schizophrenic nor delusional. Well, it's very specifically because they committed felonies, and the whole fucking lot of them did it. I went to the courthouse, I went to the district court, I went to the circuit court, I went to the Victims Advocacy Service, which is the DA's office. I went to the DA's office. I just got ran around in circles. And of course, since they don't want to do their jobs, and they let you know that they don't want to do their jobs, as soon as you say something about it, they start playing victim and bullying. And those two come hand in hand. See, one of the things that they like to do to bully is to raise their voice and pretend like you're out of line, you're out of line. Oh, poor me, I'm afraid because I'm a district attorney and we need the cops to come here and help us out because we're afraid. Well, they should be afraid. Obviously, if I wanted any of these people dead, it would not have been difficult to do so. But did I try to kill anybody? No. I try to write down the information of what's going on, and I try to turn that shit in. You get to see how people who were not qualified to make these decisions wanted to write down that stuff on medical papers that were used in court, like Mary Lindsay and John Holland. Now, there's a lot of evidence that is on police body cameras, and I do believe that Deputy Taylor will be at least mostly honest about the situation. I believe that Deputy Fenewald might be about halfway honest with the situation. But we shouldn't have to rely on the deputies and their honesty at this point. There was body camera evidence, but they get to destroy the body camera evidence after a year. They locked me up for 15 months, which means that by the time I was released, there was a lot of evidence already destroyed. And my vehicle was destroyed, and all of the evidence inside of it was destroyed. And then I get told that it's my fault for speaking up about abuse. On the bright side, although I can't remember the name of every single person that I've had to deal with, their names are on fucking paper. This guy here, Herschel Brown Esquire, is a predator. He is not going to do his job as a public pretender. He was too fucking lazy, and he wasted 6 goddamn months. He never should have even tried. Some of these guys belong in jail. Some of them belong in prison. I could understand giving some of them a slap on the wrist, but these are people who are mandatory reporters. And instead of properly defending me, they wanted to take advantage of me to make a profit. Jesus Christ, what a bunch of dumb bastards.